Sometimes I'm asked, how did I get from system science, system theory to WorldShift? Well, several unexpected steps have been involved. Let me recount here the first of them. The year is 1973. I was sitting in my study at the campus of the State University of New York, upstate New York, and just reviewing my new book and thinking about what I'm going to write next. Then a phone call came. It was from Richard Falk, the head of the Princeton Center of International Studies. And Dick, as he was known, Dick Falk, asked me, would I like to come to Princeton to give a series of seminars on systems approaches to world order. I said, well, that's fine, it sounds fascinating, but I don't know anything about world order. I've been dealing with natural systems primarily and not thinking too much about how that would apply to the whole international area. He said, never mind, we are going to think about it ourselves, we'll invite faculty, and together we'll work out these seminars. Just bring your own theories, your own approach. I think, he said, this could be very useful for us. At that time he was running the World Order Models Project, with several of these world order models that were widely discussed at the time. Well, how did he get to me? That is the first part of the story. He read a little book which is called The Systems View of the World. I published it in 1972. That in itself is a little story how I came to write it, because I just published just before that a book which was my most serious book, called Introduction to Systems Philosophy. In that book I wrote all that I knew about the behavior and evolution of complex systems. A faculty party took place not long after the book was published, and the wife of one faculty member said to me, you know, I just picked up your new book. And she said, but when are you going to write something that people can understand? Of course, that book I intended primarily for philosophers and philosophers of science, so I wasn't worried about it. But nevertheless, this question intrigued me. Was it really so that it was not accessible to everyday readers? So as it happened, a week after that, we were snowed in upstate New York, and I couldn't move out of my house. The classes were cancelled, so I thought, I'll sit down and try to write it in an understandable way. So I began drafting it out as an article. It grew and grew. Finally, it became to about 100 to 120 pages. I showed it to this faculty member, his wife, and she said, well, here and there you could still explain a little more. I did. And then I sent it to my publisher, who published it, and much to his amazement and mine, it was picked up by business management classes, by social scientists, by most everybody, not so much by philosophers to whom I actually addressed it, or to the general public. And this is the book that Dick Falk read, and this is why he asked me to come to Princeton to give a series of seminars. I did indeed. It was fascinating, and I think it met with a lot of interest. At that time we managed to bring in a couple of new ideas about how we could approach the area of world order, the world order studies. But what happened then is the subject of the next talk.